journalist. And you might say, "Oh, you're a dreamer. That's impossible." No, I'm not a dreamer. Look at my inbox. Look at my DMs. I got people from the government in every state sliding into my DMs saying, "Hey, send me one of those cameras." I have people in every state going on Amazon and buying the cameras themselves. Okay? Why? Um, because of what happens to me. Because they trust me. I don't know. Because I spent 14 years of my life going through this crazy shit. Um, you know, asking permission from federal agents to go anywhere. I see Joe Bezos on this phone call. He spent a night with me in jail in Louisiana. At least I saw him there. ALX, you got your hand raised. What's going on, brother?
Yo, so for those of you who missed it yesterday, James called into Timcast. The video is linked up in the top right now. And you teased a story that was upcoming, and you said it might have to do with some three letter agencies. Is that something you can tease on here? Any more information on that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I just got off the phone with the source right before I got on this phone call. They're everywhere, and they're recording, and they're ready to go. This organization will be doing stories in the coming days and week ahead. Um, and I don't want to give out any more information than that. I mean, just we're on it. Um, and we're shipping out cameras as I speak. We're shipping out these cameras, and we're giving instructions to people on what to do. I even thought about actually a model where we tweet out questions. And one of the things I want to hear from you guys on this Twitter space is, what stories do you want to see uncovered? Do you want to see the FDA uncovered? Is it Pfizer that's in control, or is it the Food and Drug Administration? So, what are your hypotheses? What do you guys want exposed? Let me tweet it out right now. I will tweet out this evening on my Twitter the story that you want to get. And I believe that someone's going to DM me or email me in proximity to the subject who can get us that recording. So that's actually, let me put it back on you guys, and I'll call on anybody there.
If you're,
Or ALX, do you have any ideas?
and again, everyone,
Um,
if you're just joining, we are on with the O'Keefe Media Group discussing the decentralization of journalism, the mission of weaponizing all Americans with the mission of telling the truth, reporting activity. And we're discussing that with James O'Keefe, who has spent 14 years doing guerrilla journalism, inspiring whistleblowers, journalists, undercover journalists to break stories. We're also on with Benny Johnson, who knows a lot about that as well, and ALX. Also on this space is
Hey,
one of our whistleblowers, Debbie, who just joined James on stage at CPAC, and she knows a little bit about being an ordinary citizen who decided to be brave and do something. When Debbie feels the need to chime in, Debbie feel the need to chime in. But stories,
um,
stories we should focus on.
hey,
ALX, what do you have to say?
let's make Simon. By the way, let's please invite Simon to speak
yep,
along with
I
Kyle
did.
Morris and
Yep.
along with Jan from the Epic Times. Jan's the best. I would love to hear their thoughts on what James is building here and journalism writ large.
Hey, Jan. We just spoke today earlier. Jan and I were talking on the phone. How's it going, Jan? What are your thoughts on this that you want to speak about, this vision?
Jan is
Well,
still getting
I
permission to
yeah.
speak. He's
Yep,
going
I
to take.
invited them up.
Okay.
so Simon, Kyle, and Jan should be getting invitations presently if you're interested in speaking. Um, I think that once we load up more speakers here, and Debbie, please, if you wish to chime in, go for it. I will say this, James. I was in DC today, and I'm certainly not an undercover investigative journalist. That is not what I do. I'm a content guy, and I was standing out in front of the Department of Transportation with bottles of water, offering people at the DOT East Palestine water from the tap, just as sort of like a joke, right, for my YouTube channel. And one of the DOT 25-year veterans came up to me and just started spilling his guts about what was going on inside of the building. Now, I have all that on camera and recorded, and I'm going to be releasing that in the coming days once I decide how to do it. But I just could not believe how pent up these federal employees were at what Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg specifically were doing and are doing with that agency. How political it's gotten, how cruel and craven it's gotten, how much of a Politburo it has become. And I'm standing there on the street corner trying to make a joke, and here comes a whistleblower literally right up into my shot, giving me 20 solid minutes of pure excoriating, smoldering, burning embers against Pete Buttigieg from inside of the building. And I was like, my God, like, like James is onto something.
Yep, yep, and I'm sure. Did when he started talking to you, did you just take out your camera and just start recording, or how did that work for you?
We had a camera across the street, and I was lobbed.
Yeah, there's a difference between how information we know how they slice and dice and how they act in symbiosis with the sources. Um, we just know how it works. By the way, we're trying to get Jan in. He requested. I don't know, Benny, who can approve Jan. He requested to speak.
This is all
I'm
ALX.
not seeing the
ALX,
request in
can you?
there right now.
All right, we'll make sure try to get that
I
done.
can try and DM him,
Um,
but
okay. How about is it Debbie Bernal, Pfizer whistleblower? Are you in the space?
Hey, yeah, I am. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. So Debbie is the one of the two people who um, we worked with. I worked with to do the Pfizer story about a month ago, and she went on stage at CPAC. Very brave young woman who started a Turning Point chapter at University of Illinois in 2015. And she has a GoFundMe, a Give Send Go page rather, to support her because she was targeted by Pfizer. And she went on stage. So Debbie, just say a few words about your journey, if you're comfortable with that, and anything else you'd like to say.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone who has already donated to my Give Send Go. It means a lot. It really does. It just gives me some hope. But most importantly, thank you for your prayers. Um, I can definitely feel them, and I'm kindly asking you guys, if you guys pray and believe in that, to keep praying for me because now more than ever, I really need it, given the events that just occurred today. I don't know if it's okay for me to talk about that. If it is, I will go ahead. James, it's up to you.
So I don't know if James knows what you're talking about. I see your timeline
Okay,
and
yeah, I
what
can
you've
go ahead.
posted.
Yeah,
Kind
okay.
of some breaking news, it looks like.
Yeah, so I'm sure some of you guys noticed Project Veritas posted something today, which really alarmed me because, I mean, I understand, you want to help people, and yeah, I'm all for that, helping people, making them aware of, big pharma's evil doings and whatnot. But when you promise a whistleblower that you're going to protect them and you promise to, do something and you do the opposite and just betray them, I don't know what that has to say about you. Um, I feel betrayed. Um, I, the I don't know what else to say. I don't understand how you could think that doing something like that would, incentivize other whistleblowers to come to you and trust you. How can there be trust if you promise to protect someone's safe? I'm at a
I'm
loss of
sorry.
words.
I know this must be a. I know this is a Debbie. I know this is a must be a horrible feeling and a very emotional moment for you. Can you please take us? Can you please back up and tell us, like, in detail, like what happened?
Sure. I will kind of just. I'm gonna use words carefully here, for my own sake and my protection. So, as you guys know, I worked at Pfizer. I was an on-site process expert there and a functional lead. And there were some coffee beans that I saw that, it didn't fit. So naturally, you go to a barista that you can trust. And, that those baristas promised me that they wouldn't use those coffee beans without my permission. And those coffee beans were meant for James O'Keefe. And that was his story, and I lost my job over the night James released that video of Project Veritas. Um, the next day, I was immediately, a lot of stuff happened. It was so scary. But essentially, I lost my job, pretty much destroyed my career in the corporate world. And now I'm pretty much living in fear, especially after today, using the coffee beans that, you know, I, that were mine. Um, so, I don't know what's noble about, where's the ethics in journalism? I don't know. I thought there was rules in journalism. I really did. And, the day that I was supposed to go public, I actually, James flew me out there to Nashville, and we were supposed to do an interview, and something felt so off. And little did I know that that was coincidentally the time where they were plotting to oust James O'Keefe. And I didn't know that specifically, but when I was there and I was around these people, I felt something was completely off. And the morning of the interview that I was supposed to do, I was invited by the executive producer to have breakfast. And I sit down there, and James isn't there. It's just the executive producer, two other journalists. And, they're being nice to me a little bit. It still felt weird. And then all of a sudden, they start asking me questions as if they were interviewing me. And I thought that was weird because I thought I was doing the interview later. And I noticed that they were taking notes, and I was very confused because I thought that was James's job. And then I looked over and saw one of the journalists holding their phone, all very odd. And he wasn't moving his phone. And I realized that they were recording me. They were interviewing me without James. They were I don't know, maybe they were trying to get ahead of James. And I noticed their camera, and I just stopped. I knew that I was being played. Project Veritas pulled a Project Veritas with me, out of all people. I thought they were people that I could trust. I thought they were people that, were supposed to promise my protection. They told me that they would, if anything happened to me, that they would have my back. And immediately they wanted me to sign a release statement or whatever. And I had a lawyer look over it, and my lawyer said, do not sign that. Do not sign that. They are trying to do something to you. And that's when the red flags just came to me. And I had to back out, and I was so scared. And I just knew at that moment that something had infiltrated Project Veritas. And I just felt, I left. And I felt so bad for James because James, was ready. He was prepared to do this interview. And I was, I really wanted to help out, do good for the world. And then here I am being recorded, and, thinking that I wouldn't know what they're doing. So, I mean, it's just so, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say, but I just want to say that, James, you are, I'm sorry what happened to you. I hope that your new project here is great. It runs successfully, and that, I trust you, James. I trust you, and I trust your organization, and I know that you wouldn't do that to me. So I thank you, James.
Debbie, just so everyone knows, you worked you're a consultant at Pfizer, correct? I mean, what are you
Yeah,
willing to say about,
yeah. So,
because people are joining, coming and going. You're this is like developing. I've never heard. This is insane. You're seeing some citizen journalism in action right now. This is the crowdsourcing thing I was talking